I recognize and know, and a lot of faces I do not know. So that is truly exciting. And whenever I'm in the room with TC Calvert, I'm in church. And so I want to take a moment and ask, who has ever gone to speak to a city council person or a mayor? Could you raise your hands? Thank you for your advocacy. And so we have some new faces in the crowd and new bodies. So if you would allow me a moment of personal privilege, we are now in church. Okay? And from one nun who did this to me, we are going to do it to each other. So if you would lay your hand to the person to the left and right of you, if you could. We're all just going to be a body of advocacy. And so you will say to the person next to you, left and right, I anoint you to be an angelic troublemaker for the Free Speech Coalition. Amen, amen. We got our army, Mr. Calvert, and it can continue to grow. So I want to start off with a story of my youth. Not so many years ago, I would say. My family, we would take day trips to go to Laredo or other cities across the border into Mexico. And for those of you who have also made that journey, you went to the border and there would be someone from the Border Patrol would come to your car and they would ask 4 questions. Who are you? Where did you come from? Where are you going? And when you get there, what are you going to do? Those questions I have continued to say throughout my life and have served me. So today we ask the question, who are we? And we say, part of the Free Speech Coalition. And where did you come from? Today we've been given some history of where our city and the mantle of free speech has been and not been sometimes. And where are we going? That's what we're here about today. Where do we take the direction? And our next strategic direction is to talk to our mayor, our council people, and tell others about who we are and what we want to do, and bring others into the coalition. And what are we going to do when we get there? And that's where I'm presenting right now. First, we start with the phone call. So I'm going to go kind of quickly, so I'm reading. So what I would suggest, very much what Drew and TC is saying, that if we're organizing by council districts, then someone makes the call. You don't need 20 calls for one point. Someone makes the call, and they say, I am so-and-so, and I'm a member of the Free Speech Coalition. You will get an answer because you've been given numbers to each council district and mayor. You may get the secretary, or you may get a staffer answer the phone line. Please write down who that is and confirm the name. You will probably, most likely, the most you will get is 30 minutes of time with a council person or an aide. So I want you to remember that, because everything we're doing is going to be timed in your effectiveness. So you may ask, I would like to make an appointment to see the council person for 30 minutes. Now, as Drew has said, they may say yes, that they have the schedule, they may call you back. But on the day of your appointment, you don't know what might happen. The council person might be called because of an emergency, something else happens. You may get a staffer. That's okay. Because basically what you become, ladies and gentlemen, you're lobbyists. And that word gets kind of confused, maybe, and you go, oh my God, I can't be a lobbyist. Because you hear about lobbyists all the time in the newspaper, federal, and what we just did in Austin. But basically, government is built on intimidation. You look at how the room is, you look at the furniture, you look at everything. It is built on intimidation. And what I'm asking you, as angelic troublemakers, all we were really doing were teachers. We are teaching the message of the Free Speech Coalition, where it's been and where it wants to go for equity in San Antonio. So just think, I'm a teacher, to break it down. You'll tell the secretary, etc., this is the issue I'm speaking on. And that's where well, I'll get to that. You'll tell them how many people will be coming to your meeting. That's important because if it's 2 people, it can be the small room. I'm bringing 10 people. They have to have a larger room for you. Okay. Thank the secretary or the staffer who's taking the notes and for making the appointment. Provide your name and phone number because things can shift on a schedule and you want them to know who you are so they can get back with you. And before the conversation ends, confirm the date, the time, and the location, because it could be downtown, or it might be in the field office. So you don't want to be in the wrong spot. Okay? So now we'll move to during the visit. So basically, you're an ambassador for the cause. We've already anointed you. Okay? And your purpose is to teach the council person or the staffer about the issue and present the ask. This is very important. You leave with an agenda action plan. And I quickly will tell you a story. When I was on council, a person that represented the Chamber of Commerce came to me, and we had the time frame and whatever, and I sat and I listened to her and listened to her and listened to her. I used to teach social workers how to do this. So I'm rolling in my head, okay, tell me what you got, tell me what you got, tell me what you got. She told me everything about the chamber and everything, and she left without giving me an ask. And I went, you just failed. A pivotal moment to tell me what she wanted. I didn't say anything to her. I went, okay, next person I need to talk to. But I'm telling you, you go and you end with an ask. That's what you're there for. Impressions can make or break the appointment. They have never seen you perhaps before. Many of them have seen Drew, okay? But for a lot of us, they've never seen us before. So what you wear is important and how you speak is important. My mama and daddy taught me you can get more with honey than without. So remember to be polite, be courteous, but you can be firm in your ask because you're teaching. So you want them to be open to your message. Introduce yourself and the district you represent. Because when I would teach, I would say, listen, they win office, they celebrate one day, and the next day, they're campaigning to get reelected. So you are part of the constituency. So if you're going to District 7, who's my district, I would definitely want them to know I'm a voter in your district. You don't all have to be people of the same district, but it wins you more to say I'm in your district because it's a personal connection there. You do all the presentation, but this is the other thing I would add. While you're there, you thank the council person and staffer for having the time to meet with you. You clearly state the history and the ask. And explain, and that's what the sheets are going to give you. A lot of this information because the handout is important, because it's a lot of information coming to them at one point. And they're hearing from other sides too, perhaps. So the handout is important, but this is, and I'm going to I'm going to parallel on this, and it is so important, the consistency of the message. Whatever is said to the mayor, is the same thing that is said to District 10, same thing that is said to District 3, and on. Because what starts to happen is they go, as Drew said, the pulse is now there, and you see if it's diffused, the weight of it is gone. It has to be, if you're going to ask, be specific, and it has to be uniform across the board. Because when you go to council, or when they're going to council, they're now unified in understanding what the message is. If you don't understand, they may ask you questions. They may not understand everything. But if you don't understand something that they're asking, ask for an explanation. And if you can't answer it, and you don't feel qualified to totally answer it, say, excuse me, I will get back with you with that answer. Because really, the truth is important right now. You don't want to scapegoat anything or minimize anything. You want them to have all the information, but let it be genuine. You thank them for the time and offer a contact number and a name and a phone number. Because they don't need to call 5 people, they just need to call one person. In case they have a follow-up, or they have questions later on, or a staffer might have questions later on. Who's the contact person? And this is something that rarely happens, but you can win with this. After the visit, send a thank you note. Very rarely will they get a thank you note. And just say thank you for the time that we got to speak to you. If you have any further questions, here's my name and number. You don't understand how much you can win with that. So, I'm going to close with my little hand-drawn PowerPoint. And so, this is kind of the triangle. And basically, this is what happens. Anyone, let me just stand. Anyone that's going in person, this is the top. You have the most power because you're one-on-one. I see you, I hear you, I get your vibration. Okay? Very few people do this. So that's why it's the most important thing in quantity of power. Definitely, it's like get the wagon trains around this issue. So you start doing letters. You start doing phone calls. And then emails, because of our social network. More people can do that because of, quiet at your home or whatever. I can start emailing. This is the wagon train. So what this whole thing now, and Esperanza does this really good. When there's an issue, go phone, go call, go email. And then they have people presenting. These are the wagon trails. And if you get one conversation, well, it's just one conversation. But if it keeps coming and coming and coming, the staffers notice, the council person notice, and it's like we have a red line issue. And so you give it the power. Someone's made the conversation, they've made the ask, and you are just continuing to say, this is important. You will not shove this issue to the backlog. The time is relevant. It's coming quickly. So this happens as soon as we get the talking points that gets the consistent message. And you have been anointed as the angelic troublemakers. So this is how we cause the trouble. Amen.
I want to add something to what Sister Guajardo said. Everything she said is correct. You are the teachers, and that's the thing that the Neighborhood First Alliance has done. Everything we do is a class. Everything we do is teaching. One of the things we've done where they can't blow you off, Brother Galloway, is that the Neighborhood First Alliance, we make them come to us. rather than go to their office. Because when you go to their office, Brother Lowe, they're going to say, well, Brother Lowe, we're out of time, we got called into another meeting. But when you take them on your turf, and you take them out of their experience, it's a whole different dynamic. Brother Harry and I are going to be in meetings this week with them. You think we're meeting with them at City Hall? No. We're meeting with them on our turf. And what you got to do, if you want to win this issue, you got to bring them outside those City Hall walls.